Hello and a big welcome to the channel. Oh, have I got a massive echo again? Oh, don't tell me, don't tell me, don't tell me. Right, anyway, if I've got a massive echo, then I've got a massive echo in it. I don't even touch the settings, and sometimes there's a massive echo, sometimes there isn't. Let me know if there is. Yes, Gav. Yes, Chris. Mate, he was in the car today. Right, anyway, that's what a way to start the stream that is. Hello, big welcome to the channel. I'm Motorsport Madman. Hope the microphone isn't massively echoey. It sounds like it is in my ears, but that might just be because I've got a headset on and I'm sort of hearing myself twice. Hopefully the audio is acceptable. Sometimes it's fine, sometimes it's horrific. I have no idea why. Fine. All right, we'll crack on then. Right, I don't usually do a stream like this, breaking news stream. I think the last time I did a breaking news stream like this was for something equally as shocking, was the whole Piastri saga last summer where he ditched Alpine in favour of McLaren and that whole debacle. And that was the last time we had any proper breaking news. Like when this driver moves, that's when I'm interested in Formula One news. When it's like, oh, Austria extends its contract to host the Grand Prix for the next 10 years, I ain't going to do a stream about that. But this is massive, and it's something that I did not expect at all. Daniel Ricciardo replaces Nick De Vries at Alpha Tauri immediately, starting from in 10 days' time when we get to Hungarian Grand Prix. So it's not even, Nick De Vries has not even made it to mid-season. Absolute madness. But yeah, welcoming Chris Welch, big fan of F1 sales sub this weekend. Oh, cheers, mate. Cheers, mate. It was a bit, sorry, I was on a bit of a moaning one this weekend. Well, the weekend just gone on the British Grand Prix. I was sat here moaning, not in a good mood, because of the Verstappen domination. I kind of hit a wall with it. But woke up the next day, woke up Monday, and I thought, nah, I've got to carry on. I carry on. You know what I mean? I've got to carry on. Through the Verstappen domination, I will continue. You know, no matter if Verstappen wins every race from now to the end of 2025, I'll remain, and we've just got to get through it and whatever. But anyway, this stream's not about that. This stream is about the immediate return of Daniel Ricciardo, something which I can't believe. See, Dan, you need to think about what's happening here. Forget about Max Verstappen for a moment. That'll become at the Hungarian Grand Prix when he wins that one by first. This is not about Verstappen. This is about Danny Rick's back, man. Verstappen's not the only story in Formula One. Danny Rick's back, and it's something that someone said to me in a stream. I don't know if it was during the British Grand Prix weekend or the weekend or the race before that. And someone said to me, "Oh, do you reckon Danny Rick will come back?" You know, I got the question, do you think Daniel Ricciardo come back? You know, maybe this year, maybe next year. I was like, nah. I was sat here going, you know, thinking I'm an armchair expert, sat here going, no, you know what? I think Daniel Ricciardo is done with Formula One. I said, you know, I was trying to be all clever, going, yeah, I think Daniel Ricciardo will go to America. You know, he'll make a good career in IndyCar. I don't think we'll see him in Formula One again. Shows how much I know. A week later, bang, he's back. I'm buzzing. I'm actually buzzing. And it is such a shame for Nick De Vries. I don't feel like he's been given a fair shot at it. 10 races. Is 10 races enough to define how good you are? I'm not sure. We've seen it happen before with AlphaTauri, formerly known as obviously Toro Rosso. They are ruthless. The Red Bull Junior program is ruthless. But yeah, let me just read a little bit what's going on. But yeah, just to go back to that first comment. Cheers, Chris. Cheers, Chris, for subbing. Obviously, I was moaning a bit at the British Grand Prix, but I'll get back to normal. Hungarian Grand Prix coming up. I was like, oh, do I quit YouTube? I've only got a couple of viewers. No, mate. There'll be no more moaning. There'll be no more, oh, I can't do it anymore because Verstappen's winning. It is what it is. You got to get through the good times and get through the bad times. I can't just go, oh, I'm packing this in because you choose, because Verstappen's winning every week. Oh, I'm not going to do it anymore. Nah, that's weak ass mentality. I'm going to carry on despite the Verstappen domination. You'll see me live for every single Grand Prix. I ain't going to pack it in now. Nah, You know what I mean? I've been doing it. Nah, 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 nah. Because I'd be gutted. I kick myself because there's going to be good races in the second half of this season. Even though the championship's going to be won, like that's you know that's the fat lady's song. It's game over. But there will be some good races, and I'll be gutted to think, oh, I've sacked it off because the channel's not gone to the moon in a year, or I've sacked it off because I've not got a million viewers. Nah, man, come on, get real. It's going to take years to build this up. So yeah, we'll carry on. I will carry on, and there'll be no more moaning about. Oh, it's going to take 10 years to get 10 subs. Who cares, man? I just got to enjoy it for what it is, and the growth will come with the years as the years tick on. So it is what it is. But yeah, hope the audio's fine. Cheers, Gav. I'm good, mate. Miss your stream on Sunday. Yeah, no worries, Gav. Everyone missed the stream on Sunday. That's why I was moaning. Yeah, the viewer count wasn't off the chart, but we'll carry on, innit? This move should have happened at the start of the season. De Vries got the seat because, yeah, just to get back to the topic in hand, De Vries got the seat because he's had a great career in other categories. And De Vries missed the boat in a way because really Nick De Vries should have got his shot in Formula One about 4 or 5 years ago. But he was coming up through the ranks at the same time that Albon, Norris, and Russell were coming through the ranks. I think he was the year before, or maybe the same year or the year after that. It was like the 2018, 2019, where there was so much talent coming through that it just happened that Nick De Vries was just, I'm pretty sure he was F2 champion, but he was just F2 champion at the wrong moment. And sometimes the chance just passes you by. And he didn't get a Formula One seat 5-6 years ago, which maybe he should have. So he went off to other categories, did World Endurance Championship, did Formula E, and he was really successful. Nick De Vries is Formula E champion, I think, a couple of years ago. He was obviously a very highly rated driver. He subbed in. Who did he sub in for now? He subbed in in the Williams last season for the Italian Grand Prix and scored 2 points. I can't remember the reason why he was subbed in now. Someone was injured. Who would it have been? Anyway, that's by the by. I think, did Latifi miss a race or something? Yeah, Albon. Oh yeah, Albon. Albon had a health scare, didn't he? That's right. Albon had a bit of something wrong with Albon. Anyway, that's by the by. But what happened was he come in for one race, the Italian Grand Prix last year for Williams, scored 2 points, got a P9 out of nowhere. And last year's Williams was not for scoring points. Alex Albon probably, got less than a handful of points that entire season. And Albon's a good driver. So for Nick De Vries to just jump in out of nowhere and snag a P9 at the Italian Grand Prix was big. That at that point you go, well, he's got to get a seat. And I know, of course it's just one race, but when you're comparing it to Latifi, who'd been trying to get a point in that car for like 2.5 years, and maybe snagged one, maybe Latifi got in the points once or twice in 2.5, 3 years, and De Vries comes in and gets points on his debut in one go. You've got to think, well, Latifi out, De Vries in, and that's exactly what they did. And I back them doing that. I don't think they made a mistake there. But it's not played out, has it? It's not played out how they would have hoped. And it's absolutely mad to me that Daniel Ricciardo is back this season. Not even before the middle of the season, Daniel Ricciardo is back. I honestly, like I said a couple of weeks ago, I didn't think Daniel Ricciardo we'd ever see him in Formula One again. I want to be honest. I thought Ricciardo was done in Formula One. I thought what he'll do is he'll be third driver for Red Bull whatever. The opportunity won't open up for him. I thought that AlphaTauri would probably go for the next up and coming with Liam Lawson or whoever's next in line to be the next Red Bull Junior driver. I thought AlphaTauri would go with that, and Daniel would be remain on the sidelines and then think, yeah, you know what, IndyCar for me, NASCAR for me, and that's it. I can't believe it, SHT. Let me just catch up on the chat. Sorry that I'm slow in responding to the chat. Just go off on a tangent. But yeah, do you think this is Red Bull see if Daniel's still got it to replace Perez in the summer? No, it won't happen that quick. No, even if, you know, it won't happen that quick. But maybe it is Red Bull having a look for 2024 for replacing Perez. I never thought I'd be sat here saying that. Now, if you to ask me, I think Daniel will do okay at AlphaTauri and will remain at AlphaTauri for next year, and then for 2025, you don't know. That's going. You're going too far into the future at the point where you can't really predict the 2025 driver lineup. But I'd say that Ricciardo will come in. I'm not saying it's going to be like, wow, look at that, he's got a P5 in. Nah, like, let's keep our heads screwed on. I think he'll do okay, and I think they'll probably keep him. Now, the situation with Sergio Perez is interesting because whilst he started off the season really well, it's dropped off so bad at the moment, especially in qualifying. Like, the slip-ups and the errors are just mounting and mounting. I think he's been knocked out he hasn't made Q3, basically. He's not been in the top 10 in qualifying since like round 4, round 5. Like, we're getting to the point where it's like 5-6 races in a row now where Perez is qualifying outside the top 10. That's not acceptable in the fastest car on the grid, where Max is just easily sweeping up pole positions, easily sweeping up race wins, and your teammates starting P16 and having to do a recovery job. Yeah, that's fine once or twice every now and then. You get it wrong, you're on the wrong tyres, you make a mistake in quali, you're at the back and you fight your way through. But not 4 or 5 times in a row. Not 4 or 5 times in a row. And I feel like, if I was to predict it, I feel like Perez will pick it up in the second half of the season to a point that it's not embarrassing. And I think Perez will keep the Red Bull seat. Like, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. I think chances are Perez does keep the Red Bull seat for 2024. Beyond that, you're having a laugh trying to predict 2025. But I think Perez will pick it up, and we'll just see this as a bit of a low point for Perez. But big capital B-U-T, if this Perez disaster continues and he keeps not qualifying in the top 10 and he keeps starting P15 because he's made a mistake in quali, or this has happened, someone's, and Max is just sweeping up the win. Max, another win, and Perez is fighting from P13 and finishing 6th, and then next week he's starting 9th and finishing 5th, and the next week he's starting 17th and finishing 8th. Red Bull are going to go, yeah, you know what? We can't keep going like this. And if Ricciardo is killing it at AlphaTauri, it's not out of the realms of possibility that Ricciardo's in the Red Bull for next year. But I don't think that is a scenario we're looking at, really. But it is not impossible if the Perez capitulation continues throughout the rest of this season and he's not qualifying in the top 10, for crying out loud, in the probably the most dominant Formula 1 car the sport has ever seen. Like, Max Verstappen is about to pull off probably the most dominant season in Formula 1 history. You're having to go back to like Michael Schumacher 2002 to find this kind of a season. Max could feasibly win every single race from now to the end of the season and rack up like 19 out of 21 wins. And that's not crazy. Like, that's pretty feasible. It could be the most dominating season in Formula 1 history. And if you're in the same car as that and you're not even qualifying in the top 10, it ain't good, is it? It ain't good. So this is Red Bull having a look. They'll have a look. If I'm to predict it, I think Perez will keep the seat. He'll pick it up, and he'll keep the seat, and Daniel will keep the AlphaTauri seat. But you never know. You never know. That's the beauty of Formula One, and that's why this live stream exists. Because I didn't think that this would happen. What's happening right now? Nick De Vries is gone after 10 races of his Formula One career. 11 if you include the Italian Grand Prix last year. 11 races of his Formula One career gone. I can't believe it. About 5-6 races ago, when they were talking about the possibility of replacing De Vries, I was like, nah. I'm not having this. He's done about 4 races. Mate, it's not been good enough, though, has it? It's not been good enough. I'm not being funny here. De Vries has been P20 every single time I've looked at the timing screens. De Vries is P20, man. And at some point, especially with the ruthlessness of AlphaTauri, they've called it a day, haven't they? But yeah, what are we saying? Yeah, I'm way behind on the chat, but I'll get to it now. It's not fair on De Vries, but for me, he was looking to get an F1 seat. Yeah, he was kind of lucky. I feel like it was deserved, but it's not worked out, has it? It's not worked out, unfortunately, for Nick. I'm gutted for him. You know, it's not like it's a shame, man, because when people were giving him the shit a few weeks back, like a couple of months back, and I was like, come on, De Vries. I was like, because I like an underdog. I like Alexander Albon because he's an underdog and he's underrated, and I think, go on, Alex. I always think in every race, I'm always like, go on, Alex, because he got dumped by Red Bull and all his backstory and all the rest of it. And you think, go on. I love an underdog. I like Haas because they're an underdog, especially when Mick Schumacher was driving for him. I was like, go on, Haas. You know, I like an underdog. And so I was backing Nick De Vries after 4 or 5 races, everyone writing him off. I was like, go on, Nick. But it's just not materialised, unfortunately. What are we saying? Yeah, he should have got a seat years ago, yeah, man. Albon. See if you was Williams, you'd get rid of Sargent and bring in De Vries. Ooh. No, I wouldn't. No. Sargent's just got a P11 at the British Grand Prix. I think Sargent's... No, Sargent's coming on. Sargent's all right, man. Sargent's all right. We need to chill on Sargent. He's decent. Yeah, no, Sargent is sound, mate. Yeah, he nearly got a point. The points will start coming for Sargent. He's all right. But yeah, it's actually really happening. Feel bad for De Vries. Debris. Falling into that one. I hope finds a seat somewhere else. Yeah, I'm sure another series will pick him up. Whether he goes back to WEC or Formula E, he'll pick up a seat and he'll be good. You know, he's a good driver. You know, it's not just because you're not phenomenal in Formula One doesn't mean you're shite. It's just in Formula One you've got to be outstanding. You've got to really make a career out of it. You've got to have moments. I've said this a lot. I believe in this. You've got to have wow moments. You've got to have magic moments where people go, wow, how has he done that? You've got to have those moments. And if you don't, and if you're just Mr. Anonymous finishing P19 every week, P20, P19, even if you're in a bad car. I mean, look what George Russell did in the Williams. He was in the worst car, but every now and then he'd like qualify like top 10 or something. You go, wow, how has he done that? And that's what you've got to have in Formula One. You can't just be a great driver. You've got to have a bit of magic. You've got to have a bit of magic where people go, that's incredible. How's he pulled that lap out of the bag? Or what an overtake that was. How's he gone round the outside there? You've got to have a bit of magic. And I haven't seen any magic from Nick De Vries. No, he's not the only one. I haven't seen a lot of magic from Zhou Guanyu or Kevin Magnussen this season. He did get the pole in Brazil last year, which was a massive wow moment. But you get my point. Nick, when I doing a watch along, this puts it in perfect perspective. I've been doing the watch alongs. When have I ever gone, wow, Nick De Vries, what a lap? Or what an overtake from Nick De Vries? I haven't. He's not been mentioned. And if you're Mr. Anonymous in Formula One, you ain't Mr. Anonymous for long. You're gone. You know? That's how it works. You know, you're better off being a Pastor Maldonado and having flashes of brilliance and the rest of the time sticking in the wall than you are being Mr. Anonymous finishing P19. You're better off being Maldonado, spinning off, creating carnage, but then winning a race than you are just finishing P19 every week. And that's what's happened to De Vries, and his career's lasted only 10 races. Obviously 11 if you include Italy last year. But yeah, Daniel needs to show what he can still do in the Alpha Tauri. Well, this is it. What do we reckon? What do we reckon to Ricciardo in the Alpha Tauri, man? I really, this has really caught me off guard, right? I think some people did see this coming. I was not one of them. Like I said before, for me, I thought AlphaTauri would be looking at Liam Lawson or somebody else in Formula 2 or whatever. I didn't think they'd be go to Daniel, but it's happening. He's back. And I'm actually buzzing. I feel like it's good for Formula 1, actually. I feel like it is good, man. I feel like it is good. Perez definitely at risk. If Daniel is back to his old self, back to his like 2018 Red Bull kind of if Daniel's back to his old self and Perez continues this horrendous form, you can't rule it out, can you, SHG? You can't rule it out. Second in Drivers' Championship and not make Q3 in 5 races in a row. Crazy. I think he'll pick it up, and but yeah, if the championship is close, definitely Perez most likely to get a drop, but for now they're comfortably ahead, so I think Perez will be safe. I think Perez will be safe as well. I know that's the boring kind of, the not the headline grabbing kind of opinion, but I feel like Perez will be safe for next year. I feel like if he sort of gets it together at Hungary or at Spa, and all of a sudden, like, he's on the front row with Max, or he's in the top 3 in quali, you know, gets a couple of podiums, this is forgotten about, and it's like, all right, Perez is all right, man. He's just going through a bad patch, but that bad patch has got to come to an end soon. What else? Do you think someone give him another chance at F1? De Vries now, I think he's done. I think that's De Vries's, unfortunately. I think that's De Vries' F1 career over. It's not like he's 19 and unproven, and I think he's like 28, 29. But that's not to say it's the end of his career. It's most likely the end of his Formula 1 career, but he'll go back to WEC or IMSA or Formula E, even though that's dead in my opinion. But he will be a more than competent driver in another category. He just wasn't cut out for Formula 1, unfortunately. But not everybody is. Like I say, you've got to be elite. You've got to be magic to be in Formula 1 long term. You can get away with it for a season or two. Well, you want to be here long term. In Formula 1 long term, you've got to have a bit of magic about you. You've got to have a bit of gold dust about you, you know? What are we saying? I think Perez will be saved, yeah. Give me another chance. You think Haas would? Nah, I think Haas are happy with Magnussen, Hulkenberg, to be honest. I can see Haas keeping that lineup for the next 2-3 years, to be honest. I feel like the safe hands, experience, bring home the points when there's a chance of it. Obviously, Kevin's not had a stellar season up to now, but he's been decent over the years. So I think Haas will stick with their driver lineup. I like Perez, by the way, but I think he's got Aston Martin, a team below the likes of the top 3. Yeah, you know, you can't sit here and slate Perez. Really, he's been a good driver for what? How long's he been here? 12 years in Formula One, something like that. And he's been good. Perez has been a good driver, and this is not, you know, Ricciardo's back, Perez on your bike. Nah, no way, man. I feel like Christian Horner shut that down as well. I don't know if it was an interview at the British Grand Prix or Austrian, but they said like, "Oh, what about Perez? He's not doing very well." And Christian Horner was like, "Listen, Perez will be here next year. Calm your head. You know what I mean? Wind your neck in. Calm it down a bit. He's going through a bad patch, but he'll be all right." And that's how I think it'll play out. I think Perez will be all right. Bottas as well. I can see Bottas retiring. In fact, I saw someone's driver lineup prediction for next year, and one of the predictions was Bottas retiring. I was like, you know what? I think I back that. I don't know, man. Bottas has become anonymous as well. Bottas is another one, man. He's anonymous. I think he might call it a day. Honestly, I did see this coming after the rumours circulating around. I didn't. I honestly thought Ricciardo was done. This is consider me taken fully off guard. In fact, especially now, mid-season, maybe for next year. Maybe the announcement was in October and they said Ricciardo for 2024, Alpha Tauri. I'd have been like, all right, Nick De Vries, let's say Nick De Vries continues on now and and he's constantly P19, P20, then it'd be more like, all right. But to just slap it in now, bang, round 10, it's not even midsummer break. It's not even summer break. And De Vries is gone. Ricciardo's got Hungary, Belgium, and then summer break. So Ricciardo's got 12 races? 13 races? This season. I don't feel like a lot of people would have predicted by the time we get to Hungarian Grand Prix, Ricciardo's back in Formula One. I don't think a lot of people would have gone with that. Not for De Vries not to even make it to summer break. Jeez. That tyre test he must have been rapid in that tyre test this morning. Jesus. He must have been rapid. Look at some of these tweets. But he spun it, look. Hey, yo. Ricciardo not that good, bro. Look at these tweets, man. Daniel Ricciardo fans being woken up. I can't believe it. All we need now is Mick Schumacher back, man. We just need Mick Schumacher back now, and we got him. Yeah, what are we saying? When they Gasly, Pierre Gasly. Yeah, Gasly. Alpine, listen, Alpine is set for a decade. Alpine's driver lineup, they're set for a decade, them. Pierre, nah, he's all right, mate. Listen, Pierre's had his big move. And, yeah, man. Daniel Ricciardo. Jesus, that was loud, wasn't it? Yeah, man, I was actually there for Daniel Ricciardo's debut. Yeah, British Grand Prix 2011. I was actually there for his debut. Weird flex, but there you go. Yeah, that was Daniel getting in the Red Bull this morning for a tyre test. Must have been quick, mustn't he? I know Stroll is going to get the sack by him, man. Really, he says, "Oh, yeah, you know what I mean." What do you reckon? Just to go on a tangent about 2024 driver lineups. What are we saying about Aston Martin? I think they've got to change it, man. I was saying this in another stream. Aston Martin have have got to seriously look at this. And I know Lance is the son and all that, but I think Aston have got to look at getting Alex or Lando. I feel like now with McLaren coming good, if the McLaren form is improved and the British Grand Prix is not just a one-off, but the McLaren is actually decent, then Lando will have no reason to leave McLaren, even though I think it's probably best for his career if he does even. But then, is this McLaren pace true, or is it a blip, or is it a one-off? I don't know, man, but Aston Martin have got to start ringing round, surely, haven't they? Surely. He's a solid driver, yeah. Stroll. I've always rated Stroll, you know. Coming into this season, I thought Stroll would be all right, you know. I thought Stroll step up, but the rest of the season will be about comparing Tsunoda and Ricciardo. Immediate effect. I can't believe that. Absolute scenes. Does Daniel have to start from scratch, or does he get to keep De Vries' points? No, mate, you start from zero. But the team will keep De Vries' points. Oh, yeah! Hang on a minute. He hasn't scored any points. Yeah, man. That's brutal, isn't it? Yeah, Ricciardo Batman. I can't believe that he's been brought back so soon. You know, Stroll is not going to get the sack. I don't know, man. I think he's got to improve. Do you think Lando could place Perez in 2024? If he still goes shite for into the end of the season, we say Daniel will be favourite for that seat. What if Perez continues in this horrible form and it just drags on and on and on? It would depend. It would depend how good Ricciardo is in this from now to the end of the season as well. If Ricciardo is pulling up trees at Alpha Tauri and he's consistently getting in the points and he's overdriving, he's beating Yuki Tsunoda and he's out driving the car and it's like, Jesus, this is like 2017 Daniel Ricciardo back again, then Ricciardo will be favourite. If Perez is still in this slump and qualifying outside the top 10, then Ricciardo will be favourite. But if Ricciardo's like his McLaren days and he's like Tsunoda's beating him and he does okay, which is what I think will happen. I think he'll do okay. I don't think it's going to be like, wow, Daniel Ricciardo, P6 on the grid. I don't think... I'd love to see it. I'd love to see that. But I think you got to be careful not to overhype it too much. I feel like Ricciardo will do okay. Yuki's a good driver, man. It'd be interesting to see if he's can beat Tsunoda straight away, like jumps in for Hungary or whatever, and he's like on the pace of Yuki Tsunoda straight away, challenging him. I'd be like, whoa, okay, here we go. I don't know if we'll see that, but if Perez is still bad and Ricciardo's not doing that well, then do they offer Lando a massive contract? Maybe. It all depends, man. I think that the safest bet really is that Perez picks it up a little bit, easily keeps the seat for next year. Ricciardo keeps the Alpha Tauri seat for next year, and Lando stays at McLaren. I know that's not the headline grabbing answer, but it's the most likely outcome. Um, but yeah, Stroll as the safest seat in F1. I don't know, man. I don't know because it's easy to think that, but there comes a point where if it's embarrassing and if it's harming the team, Lawrence Stroll's not the only one that can make decisions. Lawrence Stroll is part of a consortium. And there's other board members. It's not a one-man run thing. And I think it won't take a lot for Lance Stroll to keep the seat. If Lance Stroll... Basically, the minimum requirements for Lance Stroll is not very high. But if he is below that, consistently below minimum requirements, in other words, if Fernando Alonso's slapping podiums and Lance Stroll's outside the top 10, if it's that bad, they've got to get rid of him. You can't just keep him, because it would be ridiculous. Even Lawrence at some point would have to go, yeah, you know what? It ain't it. I don't know if Lance Stroll is... He's got to be good enough. He's got to be good enough, or else it just becomes embarrassing. Like, and it's hurting the team's potential. Like, if Lance Stroll doesn't pull his weight and score a bag full of points for the constructors and cost Aston Martin 2 or 3 places in the Constructors' Championship, because you've got to remember how competitive that is. Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren coming on strong. And, that battle with Mercedes and Ferrari could be lost, will be lost, if Lance Stroll doesn't pick it up. So it could cost Aston Martin, and probably will actually. I go as far to say having Lance Stroll in the second car will cost Aston Martin second in the Constructors' Championship. If you had Alonso and Norris in the Aston Martin, to be second in the Constructors, I won't say easily, but they would get second place in Constructors. You know, or if they had Alonso Albon. With Stroll, it could be 4th or 5th in Constructors as well. McLaren probably won't improve that much, but you get my point. And that costing him 2nd or 4th is tens of millions. And at some point, they've got to turn around and go, for the greater good, I am sorry, my boy. I am sorry, my laddo. But we'll get you a seat at Williams, where you started. You know, they'd probably have a ring round and go, hello, Gene Haas. Is Kevin looking at retiring? Is Hulkenberg? I've got a driver here for you. Stroll. Got a few podiums. I don't know, man. I think Lawrence should start ringing round. I don't know, man. But crazy. And there it is. What the hell, Andre? Exactly. What the hell, man? Ricciardo needs to stay at AlphaTauri. None of this nonsense going back. Exactly. Yeah. I think... I think we've got to be careful about getting ahead of ourselves and putting Daniel in the Red Bull for 2024. We're going to just keep our feet on the ground here for a minute. Thinking that Ricciardo's going to be in the Red Bull next year is getting ahead of ourselves. Like I say, if Perez is awful from now to October and Ricciardo's top 10 every week, I'll sit here and go, listen, this can happen. But more than likely, Perez will, this little spell of qualifying in the flipping bottom 5, this little rough spell that he's going through will likely come to an end, and he will do enough to easily keep his seat. And Ricciardo will be okay in AlphaTauri, and will more than likely stay on for next season. Yeah, putting Daniel in the Red Bull for next year is jumping the gun, and you're leading yourself down a path of you're probably going to get disappointed if you think that's going to be the case, because it won't be the case. But I say it's not impossible. It's not impossible, but it would be absolutely nuts. Well, this is nuts. This is proof that anything can happen. A week ago, I'd have said yesterday. If you'd have asked me yesterday, I'd have said Ricciardo will go to IndyCar next year, and AlphaTauri will get Liam Lawson in, and I would have probably said De Vries will get to the end of the season. They'll get Liam Lawson in, who's looking good in F2. And that'll be that. And Daniel will go off to NASCAR or something. But here he is. But he's back. And it's brilliant. I actually look at this. Someone's done a quick Photoshop. But yeah, no, it's good though. It is good though. It's good though. I do like it actually. It's good for the sport that Ricciardo's back actually. It does just add a little bit more interest to the midfield battle, because that's what we've got to concentrate on now. You know, I'm gutted that there's no championship battle this season, but you have to start looking at the midfield fights. You know, as sort of the second storyline of the season. Really, you've got to look at Max is winning the championship by mid-season or whatever, but this spices up that midfield without a doubt. Would you rather have Ricciardo fighting in the midfield, last to the late breakers? I hope he is back to his old self, his old Red Bull self, launching it down the inside. You know, fully, both front wheels locked up, launch it down the inside on a big lunge. I hope we see some of that. Be a bit more exciting than De Vries finishing P20. But yeah. There will be a board of directors. Exactly, Zinkmine. Exactly, that's it. It's not just a one-man thing. And, you know, it might get to a point where Lance is... Yeah, I agree with that, Gav. Yeah, we've gone on a tangent now talking about 2024 driver lineups. But yeah, Albon would be a perfect fit for Aston, in my opinion, as well. I'd love to see Albon get another chance at a top team, and Aston Martin are becoming a top team. So for me, it would be bold. Also, there's I did see the rumour about Ferrari looking at Albon, I think for 25, letting Sainz run out his contract. I don't know if, presumably that means Sainz has sort of got a contract for next year. And then going for Albon after that, I don't know, maybe Leclerc Albon for 2025 at Ferrari. I back it. But that's way into the future. This is what's happened today. Daniel Ricciardo is back in Formula One, and he's only been gone 6 months. And he's back, man. With immediate effect as well. This is the thing. It's not like this is for next season. This is now. Wow, look at this. This is actually from AlphaTauri. Daniel Ricciardo on loan from Red Bull Racing, with racing for us for the remainder of the F1 season, starting from the Hungarian Grand Prix in about 12 days. Brilliant. I can't believe it. I actually can't. Do you reckon McLaren's performance a one-off or not? That's a difficult one to answer. If I'm put on the spot, I think McLaren will be improved, so I don't think you'll turn up at Hungary and they'll be back to like 14th. But I think it'll prove to be that the British Grand Prix will be the strongest result of the season. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think McLaren are going to be as strong as they were at the British Grand Prix for the rest of the season. Nah. I would be very surprised if we see a McLaren on the podium. Listen, Norris might get a couple more podiums before the end of the season, but I'd be surprised if now that is the pace of the McLaren, and now the order is Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, like that, and all of a sudden McLaren are the second fastest team. It'd be epic. I'd love to see it, but I'd be surprised if that was the case. It will. I would say that it will prove to be that Silverstone, when we look back at the 2023 season, I think we'll look back and go, it was the British Grand Prix was McLaren's strongest race, but that was a turning point, and from then on they got a lot of points and they beat Alpine in the championship. Blah, 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 blah. But I don't think that Norris is going to be fighting for the win every week, is he? I mean, it would certainly spice up the season, and spicing up this season is something I very much welcome. So if McLaren fancy fighting for every Grand Prix win from now to the end of the season, I'm your first man for it, because I've got to do, well, not got to, but I do commentary for it. So let's have a go. But I don't think that's going to happen. But they'll probably be top 10. The car's looking obviously good, but probably not as good as how it was at the British Grand Prix. But yeah, there we go. What are we saying? Aston Martin is sliding down the pecking order quicker than a BBC present his career. Oh, mate, I don't know what's going on with Aston at the moment. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Alonso strong in Hungary, though. I feel like Alonso, I'm 12 days ahead of the game here, but I'm going to say Alonso podium in Hungary. Yeah. And I'll go another bit of a prediction. I'll say Hamilton challenges Verstappen for the win. And when I say challenges, no more walkovers for Verstappen. No, I think Lewis is historically very strong at Hungary. So is Alonso. I feel like the podium in Hungary, I'll go for you know who, Hamilton, Alonso. Yeah. With Lewis challenging Max the whole way through and not giving Max an easy ride. And it'll be the first time where you go, ooh, Max was under pressure there. I feel like Max will be under pressure. But anyway, he'd probably dominate, but you know what I mean. I'm hopeful. Seems harsh, but great to have that smile. Yeah, energy and personality back. Let's hope AlphaTauri upgrades, make some top 10 contenders. He shouldn't go back to Red Bull. I don't think he'll be in the Red Bull. But yeah, Aston Martin, I think, especially with Alonso behind the wheel, should be much stronger in Hungary. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Like I say, I don't normally do these live streams, but if I'm off work, it just so happened that today I'm not in work, and we get a big piece of breaking news like this. Obviously, when it's smaller bits of news, I'm not, I won't bother. But when it's like a driver, you know what I mean? When it's driver switching teams, you know what I mean? Then I'm on it. That is one thing that I'm all over. Yeah. So Daniel Ricciardo is back for the Hungarian Grand Prix, of which I will do a watch along on qualifying and the race. Well, hopefully qualifying. I think qualifying, but definitely the race. Anyhow, in about 12 days time ish. Not this weekend coming, the weekend after. So yeah, join me for that. No Perez. What do you know, Perez? So you think he'll still be shit? Oh no, Perez! What, on the podium? No, I think. Listen, Perez will do enough to keep his seat. We're getting ahead of ourselves, thinking this is Ricciardo on his way back to Red Bull, but it's good to see him back on the grid anyhow. You're doing a racing stream today on your rig. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with that, Gav, because people aren't really interested in the sim racing, so I don't know whether to do that or not. Maybe just for the hell of it. You know, will you watch it if I do it? Because then at least I'll have one viewer, innit, Gav? Because I'll do it, and then I'll be there. It'll be 0 viewers, and I'll be driving around 0, and I'll look at the thing 0. I think, where the fuck's Gav? I'll be like, I'll be driving around going, Gav said to do this stream. He's not even here. Fuck's sake, man. I would at least have one viewer. People are interested in the sim races. So I don't know, man. Maybe, maybe not. But yeah, man. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Oh my God. Vries is gone after 10 rounds, mate. Oh, that's a good picture. That's a good little poster. The smile is back. Oh my God. This is Daniel Ricciardo's F1 career, isn't it? Red Bull B team, Red Bull, Renault, McLaren, Red Bull B team. I've not clocked that. He has done the full loop. Daniel Ricciardo is back to where he started. Flipping 15 years ago. What the hell? Oh my God. No way, yeah. Talking about. I tell you what, he must have been quick in this tyre test. Oh, Danny Rick. He must have set purple sectors, mate. He must have done that record, and they've gone, oh, get him in now. Oh, mate. Yeah, cheers. Well done for getting out first. Well, there you go. I thought, all right, let's do a live stream. When I read the thing, I was like, oh, that's big news. Let's have a go. Let's go live, see if anyone's interested. Or golf. Yeah, I am not doing golf on this channel. Even doing the sim racing is a bit of a stretch. Is that in the same category? I guess it's to do with motorsport, so I can kind of just about keep it in the same ballpark of where it's in the same category. Golf, forget it. Hello, I'm the Motorsport Madman, and welcome to a round of golf at Pebble Beach. No, are you trying to kill this? Listen, Gav, you better chill, man, because this channel's already dead and you're trying to kill it. You don't already kill a dead channel, bro. I ain't doing golf on here. That would be the final straw then. Hello and welcome to Wolf Creek Golf Course. What an incredible day of golf we got ahead of us, mate. You're killing me. Might as well start doing flight sim. You know what I mean? Come on. Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to fly to southern Japan. In real time, 16-hour flight. Let's go. Might as well do flight sim on here. On Twitch? Yeah, is it one of them? No, maybe on Twitch, isn't it? But... oh, no. Now, the sim racing's already a bit of a stretch. I don't know whether to do that or not. But yeah, anyway, guys. How's this stream nearly been an hour? I don't know. And why have I enjoyed this more than I did the British Grand Prix? I don't know. British Grand Prix, I was in such a bad mood, right? I was like watching the race. I was sort of like, channel's dead. No one here. I don't care. I was like proper in the mood. You know what I mean? And I was in a mood because it was a popular stream last year, the British Grand Prix. and then to come live and see 0 viewers was like, ugh. When something kills you deep inside, I was like, oh, oh yeah, man. But this has cheered me up, actually, to be honest with you. This has actually cheered me up, mate. No cap. Daniel Ricciardo. Hard. Me hearing Daniel Ricciardo back in Formula 1. Hard. Fucking hell. Alpha Tauri, Daniel Ricciardo. Mate, buzzing. He's back. He's when they announced Perez replacement. Yeah, man. No, honestly, right. Driver announcements. If someone's just extended the contract, nah, that ain't breaking news. That ain't good enough. If extended contracts, nah. But drivers changing teams, love it. Love it. Love it, man. Drivers changing teams. That's the only better news than that. Well, better. Sorry, Nick. It's great news. You've been dropped. No. But the only like sort of bigger news than that is like a new team joining. That would like an 11th team, bang, mate. That would be incredible. But drivers, the driver, what's that game? Musical chairs. Driver musical chairs. He's moving there. He's moving there. He's moving there. I love it. So if there's ever a kind of a big announcement, this driver's driving for them. You know, big, especially the big driver moves like this. Daniel Ricciardo back in F1. If I'm not at work, mate, you best believe I'm coming live. If a driver moves, mate. You know, I think the biggest one I've ever seen was Vettel leaving Red Bull for Ferrari. I remember that at the time. That was massive. But yeah, I back this. Will he beat Tsunoda? This is the thing now. He's got 12, 13 races. Will he beat Tsunoda? Or will Tsunoda show him the door? When does Audi come back in again? 26. It's all change. You know, when you're on train and it's all change at whatever. Well, what's that station where it's like all change? Anyway, the point is, it's all changing in 2026. It's not Hull, is it? Why is it all change it? Oh, mate, I can't remember. Hamilton leaving McLaren for Mercedes. Yeah, that was massive as well. Yeah. Hamilton leaving McLaren for Mercedes and Vettel leaving Red Bull for Ferrari. There's been a couple of big Alonso ones as well. Alonso. Did Alonso do Ferrari to McLaren, stuff like that? Anyway, this is your latest one. I think the last time I did a stream like this was the whole Piastri. In fact, I did 2 in the space of an hour because it was like Piastri signs for Alpine, and then half an hour later, Piastri ditches Alpine, signs for McLaren. Incredible that was. What an afternoon that was. I think that was like last August. That was the last time I did like a breaking news live thing. Was like you're getting on for a year. So yeah, buzzing to do a little stream like this. Hope you've enjoyed it. Drop me a like, guys, you know. And any kind of further driver moves, as long as I'm not at work, you'll see me live. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed it, guys. We've managed to go for an hour on something that can be summed up in one sentence, which is quite a feat, really, if you think about it. But yeah, the smile is back. 2 smiles. I am actually buzzing about this, if you can't tell. I do back it. I think it's good for the sport. that Daniel Ricciardo's back. I feel like there's a lot of this is the current Formula One fan base. They use that clip for everything, don't they? I think that's when England scored in like the Euro final or something. But yeah, man. It only took one tyre test and he's back. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed the stream, guys. Please do drop me a like. Subscribe if you're into Formula One. I will be back for qualifying ahead of the Hungarian Grand Prix with this man back on the grid. Qualifying, I think, this might not be accurate, but I think, hope, and predict it's 3 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. I think, maybe. Not this Saturday, Saturday after. So in about 10 days. I'll be back. I will be reacting to Daniel Ricciardo in the Alpha Tauri at the Hungarian Grand Prix a week on Sunday. Join me for that. I can't wait, man. You're back in 5 minutes. Vries replaces Perez. Dropped from Alpha Tauri, picked up by Red Bull. Wow, no. That's even 2 nuts for even F1. But yeah, so I'll be back a week on Saturday for qualifying for the Hungarian Grand Prix, as well as the Grand Prix itself on the Sunday afternoon. Peace out, guys. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Subscribe if you're into Formula One. And yeah, drop me a like. Daniel Ricciardo back in Formula One, replacing Nick de Vries. See you later, guys. It's been a great stream. I've really enjoyed it, to be honest. And big ups, Danny Rick. Scuderia Alpha Tauri for Danny Ricciardo. He's back after 6 months away.